Good early morning or good evening to all my friends in Florida. My name is Magnus, and I'm your host today. I'm a rocket chaser for TLP on the West Coast. And today's launch, it's the second one of the day. What are you thinking about it? There was a launch for just a mere 3 hours ago, and we're continuing the Starlink train here today. Today is another launch of the Starlink Group 10. This is the launch of Starlink 6-85, which will be launching to the southeast trajectory. While we're at it, let's get those trajectories on the screen and follow with tradition here. As you can see, we are following a southeast trajectory heading to the 53.2-degree inclination. Booster today is going to be B1078, and we'll go a little bit into detail later. After liftoff, vehicle will continue like a normal Starlink Group 6, and the booster will land just east of the Bahamas. Unlike Starlink Group 10s, we are flying to, again, that southeast trajectory. Uh, we'll go into the booster here. Booster is a B1078, and B1078 is going to be flying for its 24th time. All right, let's go over this booster here. It's flying for its 24th time, and it is 64 days since it last flew. Last time it flew, it was flying New Centra Lima back in September, which is 60 days ago. Pretty insane to think that September was just 60 days ago. Feels like yesterday. But boosters flowing started by flying its inaugural flight, flying Crew 6 O3BM Power 3 to 4, USSF 124, Bluebird 1, and New Central Lima. And in between there was sprinkled about 18 Starlink missions. At this time, we are just around 15 minutes away from liftoff. And next up, we have are going to next up on the list here is going to be that engine chill at about 7 minutes from now. Uh, the stage two LOX load began just a mere minute ago. That's going to take about 10 minutes to fulfill. They're going to fill some liquid oxygen on that second stage, and it will be prepared for a launch in not too long from now. As always, feel free to drop some questions or comments in the chat, and we'll answer them. We are just around T minus 14 minutes from launch. For those of you who are just joining us right now, we are just around 14 minutes away from launch for the second launch from Cape Canaveral Spaceport Station here today. This launch is going to be carrying 29 Starlink satellites to the 53.2-degree inclination, which is a southeast trajectory. For those who are located off of the Florida coast, specifically in the Miami area, be sure to take a look outside and look towards the ocean, and you should start to see these be able to see Falcon as it flies around that minute mark. For everyone who's closer, should be able to see it a little bit earlier. Uh, Weather is looking pretty good today. From all we can see here on the radar, uh, should be a clear day on the launch pad. Does look like there's a little bit of precipitation in that recovery zone, but apart from that, looks like it's going to be an amazing day for flight. Obviously, we'll know if this rocket actually launches in just around 13 minutes from now, and we'll see what that launch director says at that T minus 40-second mark. I'm taking a look in the chat and I see Mike B is asking, do they have a launch limit on the boosters? And the answer is both yes and no. These boosters are certified originally for just around 25 flights. Then they have to go through a recertification process, which means that essentially they go through, double check that everything's still good on the booster. If the booster is safe to fly, they will recertify that booster for 30 missions. We just had a booster pass that 30 mission mark. Not too long ago, which means it's going to be recertified. We don't know what the hard limit really is. SpaceX was originally aiming for 100 launches per booster, but at this time, we don't have a booster at 100 flights. Uh, Instead of having one booster flying many times, SpaceX has decided to expand the fleet in that way. So more boosters, giving them a little bit of time to make sure that everything's good between those launches. Vandenberg has about 10 boosters. And the Florida side has a little bit more than that. So they rotate there. Florida boosters fly about every 60 days, and Vandenberg ones fly every 30 to 40 days since they're a little bit less on those boosters. But again, Vandenberg cadence is a little bit less than Florida as well. So not a set amount of number, but generally speaking, you'll see that booster be reflown just around 2 months after it was last. All right, we are just around 10 minutes from launch. As always, when SpaceX goes live, we'll throw that feed on screen. But until then, we are counting down to a launch of a second Starlink mission carrying 29 Starlink V2 mini satellites to a low Earth orbit. We'll continue a little bit with tradition here. Let's see what those apogee guesses are in chat. Last one I was on, it was at 113 kilometers in altitude. Um, I'm feeling I'm feeling 114 for this one. So hold me accountable for that one. Not entirely sure, but you know, as we've said before, as I like to say, on the first stage boosters, they are not as accurate on those. The stage one boosters have a very high thruster weight ratio when they're flying. So with those 9 Merlin engines, even though they can throttle, getting to a precise point is a little bit difficult. They are limited by the amount of throttle vector they have there in the Merlins. So that means there's always going to be a slight deviation from the original plan, even if that's a couple milliseconds or so. Couple milliseconds to a second, that means that that's going to have a little bit of effect in that apogee. Now, the stage two engine has a lower thruster weight ratio, a little bit less than one. That depends. So once those satellites are deployed, they're deployed in a pretty accurate orbit. ULA likes to make a pretty big deal about it because it's important. You want to make sure you have the correct eccentricity and those things when you're deploying your satellites. Now, for Starlinks, that isn't as important because they'll be using their electric propulsion system to adjust that orbit as they fly. But for other payloads, it becomes a lot more critical. At this point in time, we're just about T minus 8 minutes away from launch. Up next on the event list, the stage one will begin its engine chill. The engine chill is essentially where a tiny bit of liquid oxygen is circulated through those stage one turbo pumps on those nine Merlin engines. The reason for that is because you don't want to give those you want don't want to give any of those components thermal shock. Basically, metals are pretty adaptive to temperature, and that main combustion chamber Don't know exactly what it's made of. I'm assuming it's made of some sort of copper material. Copper is really heat sensitive, so it expands and contracts based on its temperature. Um, that combustion chamber is going to get really cold when you flow um, those cryogenics in. So when you flow that huge amount, you don't want that shock to be very big. If I'm not mistaken, it's also to cool that chamber in preparation to ignite those engines as well. Um, Taking a little pause here to answer Gail George, who's asking, "Is this an unmanned rocket or does it have humans on board?" This is a unmanned launch. It will be carrying 29 Starlink satellites. So those Starlink satellites will be used for internet connectivity to expand the Starlink constellation, which has launched over 10,000 satellites to orbit at this given time. We're getting closer to launch here. Up next on the list, once we get cameras, we'll start to see that strong back retract. That's going to be the first thing when you get that view of Falcon on your screen, which we should be getting in just around 30 seconds from now. Getting close to that 5-minute mark. In the next 5 minutes, a lot of things are going to start to happen. As you can see, there's a live view. There's a live view of that Falcon 9 as it prepares for launch from Slick 40, not Slick 40, Slick 40 from Cape Canaveral Spaceport Station. You should hear the next call out at just around 10 seconds from now will be that strong back retract call.
Strong back retract has started.
And there's that call out. You'll start to see on your screen right now that those clamps that are just under their fairings, which is the fairing halves, will start to slowly open. Those claws will then fully open, and the strong back will retract a couple degrees before that liftoff. As you can see, those clamps are starting to open there. If you don't know what the fairing is, that fairing is that top little shell there that bulges out just a tad bit. It's a little bit more gray. At the bottom of that, you'll see that there are a couple of those mechanical arms which are going to slowly open, and you'll slowly start to see that yellow piece move a little bit. That's dampening those fairings when they carry it out to the pad. So that strong back should start to retract just around now. Up next, after that strong back retract, will be the stage one lock load complete, which will occur just about 10 seconds from now. You should hear that call out by mission control.
Stage one LOX load is complete.
There's that call out for stage one lock load being complete. That means that the first stage of Falcon 9 is fully fueled with its liquid oxygen. Up next will be the stage two LOX load completion, which will happen just around 40 seconds from now. Stage two has a lot less liquid oxygen than the Falcon 9 booster, which is why we started the stream. They had just started that fueling, and by now they're just around fully fueled. We'll hear that call out on screen just around 20 seconds from now.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
And there's that call out. They are fully that means that the second stage is fully fueled with its liquid oxygen. In the next minute, we're going to have a couple of things. Stage 1 will enter startup at just around 1 minute. Ground gas closeouts will happen around this time. You'll start to see quite a bit of venting and hear that call out as they purge the lines for any remaining fuel and liquid oxygen, so that doesn't become an issue during
Ground
ignition.
gas closeouts has started.
And there's that call out. You should start to see quite a bit of venting starting now as they purge those remaining lines in strong back in preparation for launch. In 20 seconds from now, Falcon 9 will enter startup. It will transition to internal power. And at T minus 40 seconds, the launch director will verify if the vehicles go for launch. For that time, I just want to mention that this is launching from Slick 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Falcon 9 has entered startup. We're just around 1 minute from launch.
Go for launch.
There's that call out. The launch director has verified that vehicle is go for launch. We'll be seeing that ignition start at just around 30 seconds from now. Be sure to look for that green flash.
T minus 30 seconds.
And there's that call at 30 seconds to launch. Be sure to look for that green flash as Falcon 9 uses a bit of a T-tab to ignite those engines. From now, I'll be remaining silent until liftoff, so you can hear those engines and as mission control counts us
T
down.
minus 15 seconds. T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. And liftoff. Go SpaceX, go Starlink.
Vehicles pitching downrange.
M1D chamber pressure is nominal.
And liftoff of Starlink 6-85, carrying 29 Starlink V2 mini satellites to a low Earth orbit. Liftoff occurred at 10:44 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Up next will be max Q, where the vehicle experiences the maximum point of dynamic pressure on the vehicle, which is caused by that increase in velocity, and that ratio hits the ratio of velocity to the pressure.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
There's that call out. Falcon 9 has just broken the sound barrier. We'll be having max Q in just around 10 seconds from now.
Max Q.
Falcon 9 has just passed through that maximum point of dynamic pressure. Up next in quick succession, we will have MECO, stage separation, and second engine startup, which will occur just around 1 minute from now. Falcon 9 has just around 1 minute, 1 minute left in flight. Falcon 9 has just throttled up following that max Q point. And there's that engine chill for that Merlin engine on the second stage. It's the same thing that happened at T minus 7 minutes for those 9 Merlins, but this time for that Merlin on the second stage. We are just around 30 seconds from that stage separation moment.
Nominal trajectory.
As you can see right now, as the vehicle gets higher in altitude, that plume starts to expand, and that's part of the reason why the vacuum nozzle is a little bit expanded, as it prevents that expansion from happening and allows you to have a little bit higher efficiency. We're a couple seconds away from that MECO and stage separation now. There you go. The engines have. There you go. There's that call. The engines have shut off, and we'll be seeing second engine ignition. Be sure to look in your lower right-hand screen.
MVAC startup.
And with that, the second stage has ignited its Merlin engine and it is heading on into space. At this point, the booster will continue to coast for the next few minutes before its entry burn. Be sure to look for that apogee. The fairing separation should be just around now.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And there's fairing separation. And with that, the lights on the Starlink satellites have been eliminated. At this point in time, Falcon 9 is still traveling a little bit upward, but it has mostly its horizontal velocity. As you can see, it's slowing down a little bit, which is as it is getting to the top of that parabola. It's traveling at just around 2 kilometers per second right now. Most of that velocity is found in horizontal velocity. It's past the Kármán line, and it is starting to slow down as it reaches that point of apogee. And with that, we have reached our apogee on that booster, and it is starting its descent. With that, gravity is going to pull that booster down, and you should see that vertical velocity start to speed up pretty dramatically before it starts to enter that atmosphere, before the
Trajectory
entry burn
nominal.
starts. There's that call for trajectory nominal. Following that entry burn, you should be hearing that stage 1 FTS is going to safe because it's going to be on a nominal trajectory, and you should be hearing stage 2 FTS safe. That means that they're all falling. They're all following their designated range zones, and those FTS charges will no longer be needed. We're just about 1 minute from that entry burn. At the point of entry burn, 3 Merlin engines will ignite, and they will slow down and act as a little bit of a heat shield as Falcon 9 falls through that atmosphere, preventing it from breaking apart due to those aerodynamic forces. All right, Falcon 9 has started to enter that atmosphere. As you can see, it's still speeding up. Once we get into those thicker levels of that atmosphere, we should be slowing down pretty dramatically. Still a little bit of cold gas there on your left hand of your screen, and we are just around 9 seconds from that entry burn.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
And with that, you just heard 2 callouts. That was the safing of the flight termination system and the startup of that entry burn, which will last about 20 seconds, shutting down about 9 seconds from now.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
And there's that shutdown of the stage 1 entry burn. Up next should be that stage 2 FTS
Stage
safe.
2 FTS is saved.
And there you have it. The stage 2 FTS flight termination system has been saved. Uh, Falcon 9 is just around 30 kilometers, traveling at about 1 kilometer per second right now. And it is descending towards that drone ship. As you can see, those hypersonic grid fins lit with plasma as it enters that atmosphere. We are looking at a landing burn just around 30 seconds from now.
Stage 1 transonic.
You might be able to spot a little bit of a white glow on that stream on your screen, which is supposedly that drone ship we're coming in for a landing on. And the drone ship for today's launch is just read the instructions. Starting that landing burn just around now.
Stage 2 has entered terminal guidance.
Stage 1 landing burn.
And there's that landing bird. Falcon 9 has just reoriented itself and it is now targeting the deck of that drone ship. We should be seeing landing in only a couple seconds from now. There's a view of that drone ship.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
Landing legs have been deployed.
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And touchdown of booster 1078 completing its 24th landing. With that up next, the next event happening now will be Seco 1 in just around now. You should hear that call out.
MVAC shutdown.
And there's that shutdown. Falcon, the second stage will now coast for the remaining 40 minutes before it performs a 1-second
Nominal
burn.
orbit insertion.
And there's that call booster. The second stage is an anomalous orbital insertion. With that, it will enter that coast phase before it comes. It starts those engines for about a second and deploys those Starlink satellites at 1 hour and 5 seconds. Unfortunately, SpaceX does not show any deployment views, which means that with that, we are going to be wrapping up our wrapping up our live broadcast for tonight. But fear not, we'll be back on Sunday with the launch of Sentinel 6B from the best coast on the West Coast. With that, I know Zach's not going to like that comment, but with that, from the entire TLP team, I'd like to thank you all for joining us. You all are great. Thank you so much for joining us, sticking around for that landing, and we'll be happy to see you again soon. With that, excited to see you because space is better together. And good night and good morning to some of